Believe it or not, although we know many brain regions involved in memory, science still can't tell us exactly where memories are stored, or whether the brain is ultimately their storage location. We know the brain is involved in creating and retrieving memories, but unlike a computer, we haven't identified a specific structure we can point to and say, this is where memory is stored. In fact, some intriguing experiments suggest memory may not be confined to the brain at all. In the 1920s, Harvard researcher William McDougall began a series of experiments to see whether rats could pass learned behavior to future generations. He trained rats to escape a water tank through one of two exits, one of which delivered an electric shock. Successive generations learned the task increasingly quickly, which McDougall initially interpreted as evidence that acquired learning could somehow be inherited. But when researchers in Scotland and Australia attempted to replicate the experiment, something strange happened. Rats whose ancestors had never been trained also became progressively better at learning the task. Biologist Rupert Sheldrake proposed an unconventional explanation called morphic resonance, the idea that patterns of behavior become easier to repeat the more often they occur, because similar systems can draw upon a kind of collective memory. In this view, once enough rats learn a behavior, rats elsewhere may find it easier to learn as well, without genetic inheritance or direct communication. In 2013, researchers published another fascinating experiment involving planaria, flatworms capable of regenerating their entire heads and brains after decapitation. Researchers trained the worms to find food, removed their heads, and allowed them to regenerate new brains. Remarkably, the regenerated worms showed evidence of retaining what they had learned before their original brains were removed. Experiments like this raise a provocative possibility. Memory, and perhaps consciousness itself, may not simply be the product of information physically stored in the brain or the genes. If memory isn't stored there, then where exactly is it stored? Could there be an invisible field of information that science has yet to discover?